Welcome to the annual stockholders meeting of Global Ferronickel Holdings Incorporated.
Platinum Group Metals Corporation or PGMC, the Surigao del Norte operating arm of Global Ferronickel Holdings Incorporated, seeks to contribute towards sustainable mineral development by promoting responsible management of the environment and natural resources. PGMC participates in the global initiative to implement heightened safety and health-related protocols among workers. It has its own facilities, medical equipment, a trained company doctor, nurses, and first aid responders, providing all employees comprehensive access to medical and holistic care. Among these activities include free RT-PCR and antigen tests to newly hired and returning employees, COVID-19 vaccine orientation, and disease awareness campaigns. For fiscal year July 2020 to June 2021, PGMC incurred 7,620,512.97 man-hours with no lost time accident, both fatal and non-fatal. PGMC's steadfast commitment to responsible mining and dedication to its people have earned the company a Platinum Achievement Award for Surface Metallic Mines in the 2020 Presidential Mineral Industry Environmental Award, as well as the Best Surface Miner Award. Projects under PGMC's Environmental Protection and Enhancement Program included 98 units of settling ponds, 47 units of sediment traps, 38 units of silt collector sumps with 869,218 cubic meter total impounding capacity, among others. Accounting for 90.95% annual financial accomplishment for 2020. Amid community lockdowns, restricted movement of materials, and quarantine protocols, which greatly affected the program's implementation. The company has also secured 6 special tree cutting and earth hauling permits, but only 104 hectares was disturbed and only 21,393 trees were cut. 1,069,527 trees were planted. And 1,233,016 seedlings are being reared in nurseries. To date, 2,139,207 trees have been planted, with a corresponding 90.95% survival rate, covering 519.91 hectares within and outside MPSA areas. 161.14 hectares of mined-out area has been rehabilitated and planted with 769,328 mixed-type species. 170 hectares of inactive mine areas has also been temporarily revegetated. From 2007 to the first semester of 2021, PGMC's spending on programs, projects, and activities has totaled to 357,555,231 pesos and 64 centavos. These projects are continuously funded to build communities that are empowered, resource-based, self-reliant, and self-sustaining. PGMC expects 8 scholars to graduate this year, bringing the total to 105. PGMC supported 33 daycare, elementary, and secondary public schools in the municipality of Claver, and constructed concrete pathway and access roads connecting the farmland to the barangay road. As the world grapples with the unimaginable toll of the COVID-19 pandemic, PGMC spared no effort to respond swiftly to the needs of its employees and neighboring communities. By virtue of the memoranda released by the Mines and Geosciences Bureau, PGMC focused its budget realignment on the procurement of COVID-19 vaccines. This year, 24% of the budget under the development of host and neighboring communities was realigned for vaccine purchase. The Community Relations and Development section worked on the front lines to deliver basic services without compromising health standards. The company has so far allocated a total of 12.81 million pesos to fund its food security program, covering 13 barangays in Claver, 6 municipalities, and 1 city within Surigao del Norte, benefiting a total of 3,332 households. PGMC also provided relief, medical assistance, and medical supplies in Surigao del Norte province, and provided 1 brand new ambulance to its host community, Barangay Cagdianao. Overall, 36% of the total 2020 SDMP budget was realigned for COVID-19 relief efforts and assistance. PGMC, together with other companies in Claver, pooled funds for the procurement of COVID-19 vaccines. PGMC alone raised 8.2 million pesos for this purpose. PGMC, through its Information, Education, and Communications Department, responded to the call to provide correct and legitimate information. The campaign traverses different mediums, from the installation of billboards and steel markers in strategic locations within and outside the mine site,
PGMC,
to
good morning, Sir
regular
Alex.
guesting on local and national stations. PGMC also tapped local and national newspapers and strengthened its online content presence. These initiatives solidify PGMC's commitment to empower communities from the grassroots by reaching out to the underprivileged groups. This year, PGMC supported the IP communities in Claver by providing a 25-kilo sack of rice to every family, conducting a feeding activity for undernourished IP children, and participating in a tree planting activity at Gawad Kalinga. PGMC also donated 416 antigen kits amounting to 353,600 pesos to the Rural Health Unit of Claver. Likewise, the company provided 400 doses of COVID-19 vaccines to its regular employees. Creating a culture of environmental stewardship and social responsibility is a deeply ingrained principle that guides all of PGMC's operations, a true testament as to how committed PGMC is to performing above and beyond in all facets of compliance.
The meeting will begin in 5 minutes.
mga kababayan, ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas.
Kayang magiliw, kay basta sinakanan, alam ng puso, sa titik mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, kuya ka ng magiting, sa mandulupin, di ka pasisingil, sa nagagang tutok sa simoy at sa langit mong pagaw, ay ginagang tulad, awit sa pagkayang minamahal, ang isang ng matawad mo'y tagumpay na nag-iingin, ang bituin at araw niya kailan pa may di magtitingin. Luman ang araw ng walhagit pagsinta, buhay langit sa piling mo. Ang hindi kaya na pagkay mga aking, ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
It's with great pleasure I welcome you to this year annual Stockholders meeting. Even if we were still very much in the middle of the pandemic in 2021, we were able to overcome all difficulty and challenges. I am very happy to report that PGMC had a very strong performance as the result of the team's professionalism, collaborative nature, and hard work coupled with the continued strong demand of the stainless steel from China. The even increasing popularity of the electrical vehicle in rising nickel prices. We had our trade of 2021 and we are pushing forward to bigger things. The onset of the pandemic completely rectified how people work. The mining sector included, but we were able to adapt and have continue on our growth trajectory. Mining has brought GFNI to the global stage in the reopening this year of our project in Palawan, Ipiran Nickel Corporation. We bring more accurate in revenue to the company. Having two operation mines not only means a boost in production, but our production will now be all year allowed given the relatively good weather condition in Palawan. The company profit as projected to increase by 50%. But 2021 also signified the start of our company enter into another line businesses, which will transform GFNI into a true diversified global company. From nickel mining, GFNI in the future will be known as the multi-sector global company. We will acquire a 20% stake in Guangdong Century Chengshan Nickel Industrial Corporation Limited, which is based in the Yangjiang Haidian district in Guangdong, China. GCTN is one of the pioneers in the business in the has in annual ultimate output of 30,000 tons of pure nickel. This proposed acquisition, we integrated GFNI those as in all supplied with GCTN as the value-added processor. We are also now the majority owner of the port operator in Maniberes, Bataan, which we have the Ban Maniberes Harbor Corporation, taking control of the port being with its logistical advantage, such as easy access in savings or production costs. In pair the well for the successful operation of the GFNI Steel. GFNI Steel, once fully operational, is expected to have the annual output of 1 million metric tons of the steel rebar to support the government's infrastructure program in strong domestic steel consumption. the future look very promising, and we count on everyone continued support in trust to realize our goals. Personally, I am helping find more ways to foster greater sustainable development in I will strive to bring more value to our shareholders. I would like to request our President, Attorney Dante R. Bravo, to now preside over this meeting. Thank you and have a great day ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. As authorized by the Chairman and the Board of Directors, I am presiding as Acting Chairman in the Annual Stockholders Meeting of Global Ferronickel Holdings Incorporated. Welcome, everyone. This ASM is being conducted in a virtual-only format, but we will later have a question and answer portion which is the same as an in-person meeting. Before we proceed, I would like to introduce the incumbent members of the Board of Directors. For your regular directors, we have Mr. Joseph C.C., Ms. Guzi Fang, Mr. Dennis Alan T. Ang, Ms. Maribel D. Between, Ms. Jennifer Kwong, Mr. Francis Chua, Mr. Noel B. Lazaro, and myself, Dante R. Bravo. For your independent directors, we have Mr. Edgardo G. Lacson and Mr. Sirio R. Ortiz Luis Jr. Also present is Ms. Evert Grace Claro, FNI Corporate Secretary. I now call this stockholders meeting in order.
Mr. Chairman, before the meeting proper, I would like to inform everyone that this meeting is being convened by a Zoom webinar and is being recorded in accordance with the requirements of the Securities and Exchange Commission. You may let us know via chat box if you need the assistance of our technical team for concerns in relation to this meeting's audio and video. Otherwise, we're happy to know that this meeting is audible to everyone. For the meeting proper, we record the names of the directors who are present in this meeting. Our regular directors, Chairman Mr. Joseph C.C., Mr. Dante R. Bravo, Ms. Guzi Fang, Mr. Dennis Alan T. Ang, Ms. Maribel D. Between, Mr. Francis C. Chua, Ms. Jennifer Y. Kong, Mr. Noel B. Lazaro, and our independent directors, Mr. Edgardo G. Lacson and Mr. Sergio R. Ortiz Luis Jr.
Ms. Secretary, were appropriate notices of the annual stockholders meeting sent to all the stockholders, and do we have a quorum for this afternoon's meeting?
Mr. Chairman, the notices and the definitive information statement of this meeting stating the time, date, place, and purposes were given out to all stockholders of record in a manner allowed under the company's bylaws, with the permission of the Securities and Exchange Commission and compliant with Rule 20 of the Securities Regulation Code, SEC Memorandum Circular number 6 dated March 12, 2020, and the SEC Notice dated April 3, 2020. The notice of this meeting was published in the business section of two newspapers of general circulation, the Manila Times and the Malaya Business Insight, both in print and in online formats. The last day of publication was on May 31, 2022, which is more than 25 days prior to this meeting. A certification to this effect was each executed by the Manila Times and the Malaya Business Insight, the publishing companies utilized by management for the purpose and kept on record. Also, I would like to confirm that the notice of this meeting and the definitive information statement were posted in the company website, www.gfni.com.ph, at the company's PSE Edge profile, and sent to the email addresses of the stockholders of record. I certify that our stockholders of record have been duly notified. In accordance with the guidelines that we have circulated to the stockholders, the last day of registration for this online meeting was on June 17, 2022. Based on our tally of those who have successfully registered online and validated proxies and powers of attorneys on hand, present and represented by proxy are 3,602,165,488 out of the 199,872,829 common shares issued, outstanding, and entitled to vote, or 69.27%, which is more than the majority of the outstanding shares. Wherefore, I certify the presence of a quorum for the transaction of business.
Before we proceed further, may we request Ms. Secretary to briefly discuss the rules for the conduct of our meeting today and the voting procedures for our virtual meeting.
Mr. Chairman, the voting rights of each stockholder, the requirements for their participation, and voting through remote setup were enumerated in the company's definitive information statement dated June 7, 2022. Let me briefly summarize the rules of conduct of the meeting. Stockholders of record who have completed their registration before June 17, 2022 are allowed to participate in today's meeting and are deemed present for the purposes of determining the quorum. The stockholders of record were given until June 27, 2022 to send us via email at asm2022@gfni.com.ph their questions on any of the items in the agenda. In the interest of time and the order of business, questions received on or before June 27, 2022, which we deem relevant to this meeting, will be tackled later, and those sent after the deadline will be sent to the Office of the Investor Relations for a response via email. There are only 6 items in the agenda submitted for voting, and these are: approval of the minutes of the previous annual stockholders meeting held on June 30, 2021. Approval of the annual report and the audited financial statements as of December 31, 2021. Election of directors. Ratification of acts of Board of Directors and proceedings of the Board of Directors, Board Committees, and Management. Approval of the amendment of the 3rd article of the Articles of Incorporation, and appointment of the external auditor, CSIP Goris Valayo and Company. We are utilizing voting in absentia for this meeting, and for this purpose, the stockholders had until June 17, 2022 to cast their votes, either by sending us their ballots or their proxy forms at asm2022@gfni.com.ph. Validation of proxies and the tabulation of votes were completed on June 21, 2022 by representatives from the Office of the Corporate Secretary and the Stock and Transfer Agent. In compliance with the requirements of the Securities and Exchange Commission, this meeting is being recorded in video and audio format. This sums it up, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Ms. Secretary. Now, let us proceed with the meeting proper. Now, we go to the approval of the minutes of last year's annual stockholders meeting held on June 30, 2021. Ms. Secretary, were the stockholders apprised of this item on the agenda, and did you receive any inquiry regarding this matter?
Mr. Chairman, copies of the minutes were uploaded to the company's website and included in the definitive information statement. We did not receive any question online or otherwise regarding this matter.
Ms. Secretary, please present the tally of votes for this matter.
The tally of votes and proxies is now shown on the screen. Based on the votes received, the majority of the outstanding shares of the company, equivalent to 3,518,079,917, approved the minutes of the annual stockholders meeting held on June 30, 2021, with no votes against or abstain.
Based on the report of our Corporate Secretary, the minutes of the annual stockholders meeting held on June 30, 2021 is approved. Ms. Secretary, let the minutes of this meeting reflect the voting on this matter. The next item on the agenda is the approval of the company's 2021 annual report and the audited financial statements for the period ending on December 31, 2021. On behalf of the management, I will now deliver the President's report on the 2021 business results. 2021 was a year of challenges and opportunities. As the country moves forward post-pandemic, FNI remains aggressive in achieving targets insofar as punching above our weight to surpass our goals as a dominant institution in the resources sector, as well as in the broader business community. Representing companies that contribute to the fast and steady economic development, FNI is positioned to create the next chapter of our country's dynamic business climate. This year has presented several opportunities for our business to flourish and help build a progressive society, but also expose the vulnerabilities of the industry. With the market reopening post-pandemic resulting in the resurgence of infrastructure activities, coupled with increasing demand for electric vehicles, we see nickel as one of its main beneficiaries. Due to strong stainless steel demand and fast-growing battery and use sectors, global nickel usage surged by an astounding 16.2% year-on-year. As a result, the global nickel supply deficit ballooned to a decade high of 168,000 tons. This is a reversal of the 104,000 tons of nickel surplus in 2020. Because of the wide imbalance in nickel supply and demand, the daily average LME Class 1 nickel spot and 3-month forward prices soared to $18,474 per metric ton and $18,467 per metric ton, which indicate an increase of 33.8% and 33.2% year-on-year respectively. This translates to a price rally in nickel ore and is beneficial to the Philippines and to FNI, being one of the top nickel ore suppliers in the region. With our stable nickel ore supply and continuous efforts to expand and augment our ore reserves, we are well positioned to capture this opportunity in the market. We also believe that because of the current tight global demand-supply situation, the continuous imposition of ore export ban in Indonesia, and further supply headwinds due to global tensions arising from the prolonged Russia-Ukraine conflict, we can expect a robust nickel demand and sustained elevated nickel ore prices for the upcoming fiscal year. The global output of stainless steel, still the major driver of nickel industry demand, rose by 10.6% year-on-year to 56.3 million tons. However, despite the strong pickup in stainless steel production, driven by the fastest rate of growth in Europe for more than a decade and by more than 20% growth in output of ex-China Asia, we see a drastic slowdown in China output as first half of 2021 production was hampered by the country's endeavor to curb carbon emissions. Although we believe that despite the slowdown, the continuous appetite for electric vehicles resulting in tremendous sales growth will further augment the demand for nickel and will support price levels. The consequent price rally in nickel ore was beneficial to the Philippines, being one of the top nickel ore suppliers in the region. Despite the pandemic, total Philippine nickel production for 2021 increased by 22.8% to 32.88 million dry metric tons, even surpassing pre-pandemic production by 25.4%. Consequently, total value of nickel ore produced ballooned to 56.26 billion pesos, up by 48.6% year-on-year, mainly attributable to strong price rally in the commodity market, coupled with continuous and uninterrupted mining operations of nickel mines in the country. Now, what does the domestic and global economic landscape for the nickel industry mean to our business operations and financial performance? For the calendar year 2021, our company posted a net income of 1.98 billion pesos, up by 5.9% from the previous year. Revenues grew by 6.1% year-on-year. In 2021, it is equivalent to 7.71 billion pesos versus 7.26 billion pesos in 2020. The bulk of our revenues come from Platinum Group Metals Corporation's mining operations, with incremental contributions from the other wholly owned subsidiary, PGMC International. The increase in revenue is driven mainly by the higher nickel ore price realized in 2021, averaging at $31.78 per wet metric ton, or 21.5% higher than the previous year's average realized price. The sales mix for 2021 is comprised of 77% low-grade nickel ore and 23% medium-grade nickel ore. In terms of shipment volume, the group delivered 4.887 million metric tons in a total of 90 shipments during the 2021 mining season versus 5.6 million metric tons in a total of 103 shipments in 2020. The 13% decrease in shipment volume is mainly due to unfavorable weather conditions, higher rainfall, and more swell conditions experienced in 2021. Another factor that also contributed to the lower output is the implementation of anti-COVID-19 safety protocols, such as employee quarantine at the mine site prior to deployment, etc., that prolonged some processes, especially at the start of the mining season. Indeed, despite our continuous efforts towards operational efficiencies and revenue growth, we still contend with the changing climate and weather conditions. We are therefore very methodical in scheduling our production period and employ prudent stockpiling activities. Due to the lower shipment volume in 2021, the group's total costs and expenses decreased by 0.8%, from 4.55 billion pesos in 2020 to 4.52 billion pesos in 2021. This is mainly attributed to the decrease in contract hire costs, which accounts for approximately 67% of the cost of sales and is positively correlated to the shipment volume, such that if and when the shipment volume decreases, the contract hire cost also decreases. Despite the lower total cost and expenses, the group's cash operating cost per unit based on shipment volume is higher at 849 pesos per wet metric ton in 2021 versus 720 pesos per wet metric ton in 2020. The increase in operating costs is attributable to higher excise taxes and royalties based on higher sales revenues, and higher costs incurred for repairs and maintenance of heavy equipment and LCTs, increased fuel consumption for transportation services and heavy equipment, increase in fuel price, and other manpower-related costs. The total assets of the group grew by 20% from previous year to 13.9 billion pesos as at December 31, 2021. Among the contributors to this increase are net increase in cash and cash equivalents generated from operations, acquisition of equipment and other capitalizable items, additional assets recognized as a result of business combination from our investment in Sea Asia Nectar Port Services Incorporated. In the middle of 2021, we acquired a new loan with Taiwan Cooperative Bank in the amount of $15 million. It was used to pay off our existing loan of about $9.4 million, and the rest were for working capital purposes. Our company continues to be financially healthy. Here are some key performance indicators based on the audited financial statements for the calendar year December 31, 2021. Current ratio is at 5.13:1. Debt to equity ratio is 0.31:1. Return to assets, 15.5%. Return to equity, 20%. EBITDA margin, 39.5%. Earnings per share, 38 centavos. Overall, FNI also experienced a better profit margin for the year due to better market conditions for nickel ore. We also managed to maintain our net income margin through prudent expense management and increase in ore reserves, resulting in lower depletion and amortization rate. As you know, a couple of months ago, FNI declared cash dividend at 20 centavos per share to stockholders of record as of April 20, 2022. This is now our second consecutive year in doing so. And our company intends to maintain a consistent dividend payout based on its consolidated net income for the preceding year, subject to the requirements of the applicable laws and regulations and the absence of circumstances which may restrict the payment of such dividends. We will do our very best to deliver this to you. Pursuant to the approved share buyback program, FNI repurchased a total of 126,862,000 common shares amounting to 367.9 million pesos in 2021. As of December 31, 2021, the company has a total of 44,322 shares amounting to 1.9 billion pesos in treasury shares. The year 2021 allowed us to seize opportunities to lay down the groundwork for greater things to come. During the year, our investment portfolios changed significantly. FNI bought the equity interest of its former partner, Warong Asia Limited, in FNI Steel Corporation and FNI Steel and Holdings Corporation, where Warong holds 49% and 40% ownership respectively. As of November 2021, FNI gained 100% ownership of these companies. FNI bought the equity interest of Nectar Group Limited in Sea Asia Nectar Port Services Incorporated. As of December 29, 2021, FNI holds 64% ownership in SNPSI. These are strategic investments that will support our company's overall growth and expansion. Within the next 3 years, we target to commence its operations, targeting to produce an estimated output of 1 million metric tons of 10mm to 40mm steel rebars per year. This is based on the revised project plan, which has been developed in-house and in consultation with plant experts based in China. SNPSI operates the first purpose-built dry bulk terminal located within the Freeport area in Bataan and handles shipments of coal, clinker, silica sand, and cement raw materials, as well as steel and fertilizer and other dry bulk cargoes. With SNPSI, the company will be able to support the operations of our steel plant and will help us save on production costs. Although we strongly believe in the growth potential of the nickel mining business, we are also proactive in diversifying our investments towards high-growth industries and businesses that we think can provide operational synergies and improve our cost efficiencies. We see that our business diversification initiatives will provide both risk reduction and optimal value to our stakeholders. One of the endeavors we are pursuing and expected to be completed this year is our acquisition of a 20% equity stake in Guangdong Century Tsingshan Nickel Industry Company Limited, or GCTN. GCTN is a nickel alloy enterprise in China that operates in a 33-hectare area with more than 800 employees and has an annual optimal output of 30,000 tons of pure nickel. Our interest in GCTN is consistent with our strategy to diversify and enhance our business synergies. This acquisition will enhance synergies between FNI as an ore supplier and GCTN as a value-added processor. Our belief in the strong growth potential and significance of the nickel industry to societal development propels us to continuously seek growth in our core business. We are both strategic and opportunistic in expanding our business to bring accretive investments that will provide value to our stakeholders. With this, it is our pleasure to announce to our shareholders that we are expanding our footprint by adding the Ipilan Nickel Corporation to our nickel mine portfolio. This year, we are targeting to complete the acquisition of the Ipilan Nickel Mine, which is located in southeastern Palawan and is operated by Ipilan Nickel Corporation through an operating agreement with Celestial Nickel Mining Exploration Corporation, or CNMEC, the holder of the MPSA. The addition of Ipilan Nickel Corporation to our portfolio is a huge milestone for our company, and we believe that this is an integral step for our future growth trajectory. With the seasonality of mining activities and the difference in weather conditions in Surigao and Palawan, Ipilan will strategically enable us to have a stable nickel ore supply all year round. Moving forward, we will remain vigilant and opportunistic in possible value-accretive acquisitions and expansion plans for our nickel mining business. To support the company's continuous growth and expansion, FNI is committed to pursuing its extensive drilling and exploration program to confirm and potentially expand our ore resources. We invest significant time and resources in these activities that enable us to exercise prudence in our ore reserve and resource estimates. From 2021 to 2023, our company allocated 73 million pesos to continue production drilling in Kaga 1 to 4 and exploration drilling in Kaga 6 and 7. We expect these activities to improve our resource inventory and increase our confidence in our resource estimates. As of October 2021, we have already drilled a total of 1,736 holes in Kaga 7 and Higdon, while Kaga 3 and 4 production drill holes were completed in the same period. This enables us to measure and indicate a mineral resource of 72.77 million dry metric tons with an average grade of 1.1% nickel and 30.9% iron, translating to an approximate remaining life of more than 10 years, which is expected to be extended after the completion of the exploration program by 2023. FNI acts beyond regulatory compliance to ensure that the company positively impacts communities while fostering significant economic growth. In 2021, FNI spent a total of 43.1 million pesos on its Social Development and Management Program, or SDMP. In terms of environmental protection, EPEP financial accomplishment amounted to 99.2 million pesos. FNI spent at least 14.5 million pesos on Typhoon Odette response. A total of 8.3 million pesos was allocated for the fiscal year 2021 COVID-19 assistance. Lastly, in 2021, FNI paid 71 million pesos in royalties and continued with its initiatives for the IP communities, such as scholarship programs and donation of school facilities, apart from feeding and healthcare programs, and provision of livelihood to help them become self-reliant. After years of hard work and dedication, PGMC was conferred the Presidential Award in Presidential Mineral Industry Environmental Award, or PIMEA, for surface mining category. We also bagged second runner-up in Best Mining Force category in the recent Mining Force Program Awards. This is in addition to previous awards we have received in the past. We take pride in having gained these industry recognitions, which highlight our efforts in creating a culture of environmental stewardship and social responsibility. The year 2021 is our strongest year so far since 2018. But this is only the beginning and a benchmark that we are committed to surpassing. We believe that we are poised to grow as opportunities in the market abound, from the global demand for nickel to support emerging technologies such as e-vehicles, to the continuing need for stainless steel. In summary, we commit to pursue these investments that will further strengthen our position. The addition of Apila Nickel Corporation to our mining operations will significantly increase our capacity and add more to our revenues. Our investment in the smelting plant in China will strengthen our growth trajectory. Aggressive diversification in related businesses such as the steel plant and the port facilities to support our core businesses and harness synergies. Moreover, with the recent acquisitions and expansion plans, we expect these investments to further build up on the robust growth trajectory we have diligently built for several years. Ms. Secretary, did you receive any inquiry regarding this matter?
Mr. Chairman, we have not received any question online or otherwise regarding this matter.
Let us now proceed to the approval of the company's 2021 audited financial statements as included in the annual report of the company for the period ending December 31, 2021. These reports were annexed in the definitive information statements distributed to stockholders of record and posted on our company's website and the PSE EDGE portal. Ms. Secretary, please present the proposed resolution and the tally of votes for this item.
Mr. Chairman, on the screen is the proposed resolution and the tally of votes and proxies regarding this matter. Based on the votes received, the majority of the outstanding shares of the company, equivalent to 3,515,551,466, approved the company's financial statements as of December 31, 2021, as audited by the company's external auditors, SyCip Gorres Velayo and Company, and the annual report of the company, with no votes against or abstain.
Based on the report of our Corporate Secretary, the company's audited financial statements of December 31, 2021 and the management report as presented is approved. Ms. Secretary, let the minutes of this meeting reflect the voting on this matter. The next item on the agenda is the election of the directors for the ensuing year 2022 to 2023. The chairman of our nominations committee, Mr. Edgardo Lacson, will present the nominee directors.
Mr. Chairman, in accordance with our bylaws, Manual of Corporate Governance, and the rules of the Securities and Exchange Commission, the following stockholders were duly nominated to the Board of Directors of the Corporation for the ensuing year 2022-2023. For regular directors of the Corporation, our nominees are Mr. Joseph C. Singh, Mr. Dante R. Bravo, Ms. Gu Shifang, Mr. Dennis Alan T. Ang, Ms. Maribel D. Bituin, Mr. Francis C. Chua, Ms. Jennifer Y. Kong, and Attorney Noel B. Lazaro. For independent directors, our nominees are Mr. Sergio R. Ortiz Luis Jr. and Mr. Edgardo G. Lacson. The profiles of our nominees were set out in the definitive information statement for this meeting. The Corporate Governance Committee of the Board has ascertained that the 10 nominees, including the 2 nominees for independent directors, are qualified to serve as director. All the nominees have given their consent to their respective nominations. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lacson. Ms. Secretary, did we receive any questions on the lineup of nominees for the board?
Mr. Chairman, we have not received any question online or otherwise regarding this matter.
Ms. Secretary, please present the tally of votes regarding this matter.
Mr. Chairman, after tallying the ballots and votes of proxies received and considering further that there are only 10 nominees for the 10 seats in the board, we would like to report that the nominees are effectively elected as directors of the company for the ensuing year. The proposed resolution regarding this matter is shown on the screen.
Based on the report as presented by our Corporate Secretary, I declare all the above named nominees as duly elected members of the Board of Directors of the company for a term of 1 year and until their successors are duly elected and qualified. Thank you for your confidence in us, and may I now take the pleasure of presenting to you the company's newly elected members of the Board of Directors. The next item on the agenda is the ratification of the acts and proceedings of the Board of Directors, the board committees, and the management. Ms. Secretary, please present the proposed resolution for this item.
Mr. Chairman, our Board of Directors and management seek ratification of all the acts and resolutions of the Board, the Executive Committee, and other board committees exercising powers delegated by the Board, which were adopted from June 30, 2021 until today. These acts and resolutions are reflected in the minutes of the meeting, and they include the election of officers, members of the board committees, the appointment of attorneys in fact, the authorized signatories, treasury-related matters, declaration of cash dividend, and matters covered by disclosures to the SEC and the PSE. Stockholders' ratification is also being sought for the acts of our officers performed in the general conduct of our business and in accordance with the resolutions of the board, the executive committee, and other board committees, and our bylaws from June 30, 2021 until today. These acts were performed to implement the resolutions of the board or its board committees or part of the general conduct of business.
Ms. Secretary, did you receive any inquiry regarding this matter?
Mr. Chairman, we have not received any question online or otherwise regarding this matter.
Ms. Secretary, can you present the proposed resolution and provide a tally of votes for this item?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. On the screen is the proposed resolution and the tally of votes and proxies for this matter. Based on the votes received, the majority of the outstanding shares of the company, equivalent to 581,466 ratify the acts of the Board of Directors, the Board Committees, and Management from June 13th up to present.
With the majority of the outstanding shares voting in favor of the matter, the acts of the Board of Directors, the Board Committees, and the Management from June 30, 2021 up to present are ratified. Ms. Secretary, let the minutes of this meeting reflect the voting on this matter. The next item for stockholders' approval is the amendment of the third article of the Articles of Incorporation to reflect the new corporate headquarters at Penthouse, Platinum Tower, Asian Avenue, corner Fuentes Street, Asiana, Parañaque City. Ms. Secretary, did you receive any inquiry regarding this matter?
Mr. Chairman, we have not received any question online or otherwise regarding this matter.
Ms. Secretary, please present the proposed resolution and provide the tally of votes for this item.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. On the screen is the proposed resolution and tally of votes and proxies for this matter. Based on the votes received, the 2/3 of the outstanding shares of the company, equivalent to 3,536,091,528, approves the amendment of the third article of the company's amended Articles of Incorporation to reflect the principal office at Penthouse, Platinum Tower, Asian Avenue, corner Fuentes Street, Asiana, Parañaque City.
With 2/3 of the outstanding shares voting in favor of the matter, the amendment of third article of its amended Articles of Incorporation to reflect the principal office is approved. Ms. Secretary, let the minutes of this meeting reflect the voting on this matter. The next item on the agenda is the appointment of our external auditors, Sisip Gores Velayo and Company, as independent auditors of the company for the year 2022 to 2023. Ms. Eleanor A. Layug is recommended to be the partner in charge of SGV and Company. May we now hear from our Audit, Risk, and Related Party Transaction Committee, headed by our independent director, Mr. Sergio Ortiz Luis Jr.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In accordance with the company's Manual of Corporate Governance as of September 1st, 2020, the Audit, Risk, and Related Party Transaction Committee is tasked to evaluate and select the external auditor of the company, and which is thereafter endorsed to the Board of Directors and presented to the stockholders for approval. After careful deliberation and evaluating the performance of accounting firm of SGB and Company for the past years, the quality of their audit work, the size of their firm, and their fees being competitive with other firms, and considering also its reputation, we have endorsed to the board its appointment as external auditor of the company for the year 2022 to 2023. Ms. Eleanor A. Layug is recommended to be the partner in charge of SGB and Company, and we are now presenting it for ratification with the stockholders.
Thank you, Mr. Ortiz Luis. Ms. Secretary, did you receive any inquiry regarding this matter?
Mr. Chairman, we have not received any question online or otherwise regarding this matter.
Ms. Secretary, please present the proposed resolution and provide the tally of votes for this item.
Mr. Chairman, shown on the screen is the proposed resolution for this matter, along with the tally of votes and proxies received for this agenda item. Based on the votes received, the majority of the outstanding shares of the company, equivalent to 3,451,458,098, approved the appointment of our external auditor, SGB and Company, to audit the calendar year 2022. Ms. Eleanor A. Layug is recommended to be the partner in charge of SGB and Company.
With the majority of the outstanding shares voting in favor of the matter, the appointment of SGB and Company as independent external auditor of the company to audit calendar year 2022 is approved. Ms. Secretary, let the minutes of this meeting reflect the voting on this matter. We have discussed all the items on our agenda. May we inquire from our Corporate Secretary if there are other matters which the stockholders wish to bring up?
Mr. Chairman, we have not received any question from our stockholders.
If there are no more questions or other matters for discussion, I now call this meeting for adjournment. Thank you, dear stockholders, for participating and attending this meeting. The meeting is now adjourned.